it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, August 22nd. So we have the moon in its place of power in Cancer on Monday that the moon rules over. So you best believe that our emotions are going to be super strong, that our intuition is going to be super strong, that we may be overwhelmed with all the information coming in. Now, typically speaking, the moon in Cancer wants to kind of keep us in a state of safety, of security. We rely on what is tried, tested, and true. We are seeking our introverted nest of comfort. But with some of the other energies going on today, it is going to be a push and a pull because the other elements that are taking place are trying to push us outward, trying to push us into new territory, while the moon in Cancer is desperately holding on to the old. It is also an intense energy here today because if you listen to yesterday's forecast, you would know that we are heading into Virgo season here today. Now, we will not see the sun move into Virgo until very late today, 11:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we do have the bulk of the day with the sun still very much at those very ending crisis critical degrees of Leo energy. Again, a huge intensity taking place in our inner realm. Our headspace is really pushing the boundaries of how much we're able to think, how much we're able to process, how much we're able to understand. And this intense urgency coming from our heart space to have everything figured out, to kind of roar, to kind of scream, to let the energy out is because, again, sitting at that critical degree of Leo energy, we have a lot to say. Keep in mind, Leo energy, this whole Leo season was about embodying the positive qualities and characteristics of the lion, roaring over the jungle to let those people know that we are still in control, that we are still the king. We still have our power. We still have our authority. We should have, through Leo season, felt the lows and built up to the highs. And with a lot of the planets in very intense aspects here today, we're going to be feeling a lot of energy, a lot of pressure in our inner realms where our chest, our heart chakra is concerned, and of course, our headspace. Now, that being said, we have a quote unquote quiet day. I use that term very loosely because there are 7 aspects taking place today, and 5 of them involve the moon. So the moon right out of the gate is going to semi-square the true node and then semi-square Uranus. We know this because the true node and Uranus have been traveling very close together over the last couple of weeks. Again, having that conjunction just a couple of weeks ago. The true node is our soul's path, our destiny point, trying to get us on the right path in order to fulfill our soul's highest potential, our purpose, our mission. Uranian energy, and again, disclaimer, if you haven't listened to the ascension forecast for the week, you should probably do that because we have Uranus preparing to go retrograde this week. We have only a couple of days left with Uranus in this direct outward energy before taking us on an inner journey of shock, of awe, of disruption in order to get us into our cosmic and karmic alignment. This Uranian energy is trying to open us up to new things, trying to show us where it is that there are weak foundations in our life, where it is that we've been hesitant to change, where it is we've been overly too attached to people, places, labels, and things in this 3D realm. Uranus has been in Taurus energy for a couple of years, will continue to remain there, showing us what it is that we need to detach from, disconnect from, free ourselves from in this 3D realm where routines, relationships, resources, money matters are concerned. Definitely the physical circumstances that we're currently living in order to open up our minds to new possibilities, new methods, new ways of doing things that are actually more in alignment with our higher self, with our soul self, with our mission and purpose. So the moon in Cancer, semi-squaring both the true node and then Uranus, is going to feel very uncomfortable. Again, the moon in Cancer wants to look back instead of looking ahead, wants to hold on to what is tried, tested, and true, what is comfortable, what is familiar. There's no growth in the comfort zone. And this Uranian energy, the true node energy, wants us to look forward, because many of us have been praying for a change in our circumstances, in our realities, but yet are holding on and grasping so freaking strongly to the old. How do you ever stand a chance in creating something new if you're not willing to let go of the old and to at least open up and try something different? Right? So this is the push and pull that we are going to feel throughout the day. The moon goes ahead and interacts with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in Aquarius. This is also not going to feel so good. Why? Well, because the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde, wants to take us on a little bit of a reflective journey on where it is that, you know what, we sacrificed our own wants, dreams, and desires in the past to do what we thought other people wanted us to do, and to take a really good think time on how that worked out for us. Now, the moon in Cancer is typically more concerned with other people's lives than they are with their own. They want to take care of, nurture other people, become so intertwined with other people's lives, trying to guide them and assist them to happiness and wellness, all as a distraction. To not take a good look at oneself, to not nurture oneself, to not do what is necessary in one's life for one's health and wellness. This is going to feel very heavy, very somber, very serious. We got to get real with what it is that we have actually been doing, which is distracting ourselves with other people's wants, needs, and desires, with other people's health and wellness. And we have to recognize where we have to pull our energy back and start pouring in our own cup. Now, things are going to get very intense midday because we have the moon squaring, which is getting into the boxing ring to fight out a conflict, a tension, an internalized battle with Jupiter. Jupiter is about growth, improvement, expansion. He is about our belief systems, what it is that we actually think is possible. Now, he is retrograde, taking us back to approximately April and May of this year, when we first jumped into Aries energy, where Jupiter currently sits, and where it is that we were trying so freaking hard to create something new, to start a new cycle, to initiate a brand new path for ourselves, but we likely did it without the thought, the strategy, the calculized, logical, practical steps that we actually needed to take to be successful. Now, lucky for us, a retrograde means we get to reflect back. We get to review the steps, what we could have done differently. We get to revise our plans, our dreams, our passions, our desires, and we get to essentially rewrite the narrative. Now, we will get a second chance at kind of bringing certain things to life, certain passions, certain desires that maybe have changed, have altered as we've gone through some of the astrological aspects since April and May, when Jupiter goes direct again. But there's a lot of time before that happens. So the moon squaring off with Jupiter right now. Of course, Jupiter wants to push us outside of our comfort zone to grow, to improve, to really test our mind space, our beliefs on what it is that we actually believe is possible for us in our physical lives. And as we know, the moon in Cancer doesn't want to leave the comfort zone, doesn't really care too much for growth and improvement, because we're grasping at straws to make sure that nothing changes, that we're holding on desperately to some of the situations, the topics, the themes, the soul contracts, the scenarios that essentially we've been praying to get rid of, but we just can't seem to get out of our own damn way. So Venus goes ahead and makes a very positive interaction with Mars. So this is always interesting when Venus and Mars come together, because of course, Venus is the feminine energy that we all have. Mars is the masculine energy that we all have. Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and value and happiness and joy and pleasure. And Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, even our anger. Venus is where we typically need to step back, let things flow organically, what it is that our intuition is trying to tell us, what it is that our emotions are trying to tell us. Well, Mars does not stand back. He pushes forward. He's aggressive in asserting himself to pursue the path that's going to get him to his deepest, darkest desires, his newest passions, and not let anything stop him. But here's the thing. Venus is in Leo energy. Leo energy ruled over by the sun. The sun pushes us forward, aligns us with our heart chakra, makes us raw and vulnerable, cracking us wide open so that we can get in alignment with our soul's mission, with our soul's purpose. Well, Mars just stepped into Gemini energy. If you haven't listened to the astro forecast for this particular energy, go do it. We're going to be sitting in this energy until March of 2023. It's a very big transit, very unusual for Mars to be in a particular energy for this long. Keep in mind, Mars will be going retrograde from October to January. So there is going to be a lot of change, a lot of information, a lot of, I'm going to say, multitasking that we're going to have to do, and a lot of tests where our energy, our strength, our discipline is concerned from now until 2023. So we have Mars in Gemini, ruler at this point of the intellectual battlefield, right? We're definitely trying to piece things together. What we have going for us here is an opportunity to see patterns in our actions, in our thoughts, in our behaviors, in our emotions. Seeing the patterns of our operating system opens us up to be able to actually have control over some of these unconscious patterns, actions, and behaviors. So what we do is we analyze, again, Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, in Virgo energy, its place of power right now. We are able to analyze, pick things apart, break things down to its most finest detail, especially in the inner workings of our mind, of the inner workings of our inner realm. And we need to pick things apart. We need to analyze where it is that certain patterns have been coming up for us. Likely unconscious behaviors and patterns. So what are we going to do? We're going to recognize these patterns, and then we're going to say, okay, so how can I use this pattern for growth? How can I use it to heal? How can I use it to improve? How can I use this to solve some of the issues that I'm looking to solve in my life? And what this does is it opens us up for new levels of ideas, new levels of love, new levels of creativity, new passion, new desires. Because again, Venus is in Leo. That's the heart space. That's the heart chakra. And Mars needs us to aggressively pursue matters of the mind in Gemini in order to actually assert ourselves in a very calculated way in order to get from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. This is the masculine and feminine energies that we all have within us working together to look back and see what patterns are going to stand out to us when it comes to topics and themes and situations and relationships and passions and joys and desires in order for us to crack the code. Because once we can crack the code, once we bring that pattern into our awareness, then we can rewrite the system, make it work for us instead of allowing it to work against us. The beautiful thing here is that we have this realization, and then Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, like I mentioned, in its place of power in Virgo energy, is going to trine, which is a very positive, very happy, very helpful interaction with Pluto, the god of the underworld, the lord of transformation, who is retrograde in Capricorn energy. So what do we got going on here? We have a deep dive going on in our mental plane, in our psyche. This is a huge, huge opportunity to make some mental progress here. We are at a very interesting point of introspection. We are having internalized realizations. We are bringing things to an awareness, the inner workings of our mind, the psychology behind our behaviors. And when we have these aha moments, when we bring these patterns into awareness, suddenly A new truth is revealed. A new perspective is revealed. A new understanding is revealed. Suddenly there are hidden details that we have had going on, bouncing around in our inner realm that finally come to the forefront of our awareness. This is like unexplored parts of our brain, of our unconscious self, of the inner workings of our mind, and how this is creating an emotion, a heart space activation that puts us in a situation to physically continue to work out and play out some of these patterns. Right? Today is a big pattern day that we should be realizing as the energy pushes us through the day. So what this does is it gives us an upper hand to see where it is that now, with all this mental power, we have more ability to strategize. We have more of ability to solve some of the issues, some of the problems that we've been just banging our heads against. This is a profound light bulb moment. This is a very deep transformation that is starting in the unconscious realm of our awareness, moving into the conscious realm of our awareness, having these aha moments, connecting the dots, changing the way that we feel about certain understandings and perspectives that are now coming to the forefront, which is going to totally change our energy and vibration in our physical form, which is going to allow us to position ourselves in our physical realm, physical circumstances, to act differently, to move differently, to strategize and calculate the logical, practical actions that we actually have to take in our lives to not only break the cycle, break the pattern that we just realized, but to use that pattern for good instead of letting our unconscious selves just bounce around and create chaos and havoc within us. It's about this time that we have the sun moving into Virgo energy. If you have not listened to the astro forecast for Virgo season, I'm going to definitely recommend you do that. As you can tell through the aspects that we just covered throughout the day, it is an intense building. It is a lot of pressure in the headspace. It is an internalized deep dive that we are doing in the hidden realms of our thoughts, of our psychology, of our perspectives, of our understanding. And then the sun shining a bright light on this Virgo energy means that we got to get to work. We got to get down to the nitty gritty. We have to focus in on what needs to be reorganized, restructured, not only within our inner realm, but in our physical realm as well. This is a time for us to really focus on the details of our lives, starting what we focus on in our mental plane, what it is that we allow to take up a lot of space in our heart space, what it is that we got to get very logical and practical about in our physical circumstances if we stand a chance in hell of actually changing those circumstances and bringing to life a new foundation for the reality in which we desire to actually be built upon. So it is going to be a dramatic shift here throughout the day, a lot of pressure in the head. Please listen to the ascension forecast for the week. The crown is going to be very activated. We are going to feel the physical symptoms of having the energy built up in the head space and in the heart space. So take a listen. Be very mindful of the physical ailments, the physical uncomfortability that we should be feeling with some of these planetary shifts popping off this week. And just understand that this is about mind over matter. We have to dive into our grounding practices. I explain how to do that in the Ascension forecast for this week. We have to be very mindful of what it is that we allow to be brought into our bodies, mind, body, and soul.